Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Kevin from Green Hat Tangents, and I've got a story for you. Now, this happened back in February. There's this lady that went into get her picture taken for an ID or license or something like that, right? And when you go in, you go in and they take your picture because they have to. They have it so they can identify you on the license. So when you take your license or ID out and someone looks at it and says, yeah, this looks exactly like you, or looks like you a few years ago or a few days ago, however long you got your license, right? Well, this lady was able to get her license or ID picture taken wearing her mask, the mask that we've had to wear for months. Yes, that mask, wearing a mask like that. And they took her picture. And so now she has an ID with her picture, with her mask on, and I have no idea how anyone's going to tell it's her. I want to go over the story though. I'm going to use an article from CNN to do that. And before I do that, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Also, click the notification bell. Leave a like and a comment. Okay, let's get into this crazy story. Okay, let's get into the story. I think it's pretty funny that they let her take a picture with her mask on. I don't know who approved this, but this seems like a bad decision all around. And the fact that it's now a story or was a story back in February, it's really bad because whoever did it is probably going to get in a whole lot of trouble. So, or has already gotten into a whole lot of trouble. Okay, let's see what CNN has to say about the story. I'm just going to bring the article up right here. And here it is. It says, and you can see right here that this is her picture right here. This is her picture. She has a mask on right here, and it is a California driver's license. But how it even has so it has this picture in color, and then it has a smaller picture that's not in color here that shows that yes, she has her mask on, and you really can't even see looking at this. You can't really see that she has a mask on. It just looks like that part of her face is gone because it's not going to show this in this little picture here. Anyway, see what CNN has to say. It says if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a California woman's ID photo says a lot about life during the pandemic. Leslie Pilgrim, 25, was issued an identification card from the California DMV with a photo of her wearing a face mask. And she was like, I was thinking that there's just no way this can qualify as a legal identification, Pilgrim said. It says Pilgrim visit the DMV in Laguna Hills in early February to apply for a real ID card, a driver's license, or ID card that is also federally accepted form of identification. And it says the DMV requires applicants for a real ID to go in person, present the necessary documentation according to the state of California DMV website. Pilgrim said the agency was very strict about social distancing protocols. It was honestly really intimidating, she said. Immediately when I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, I better not break any of the rules because they're going to send me back to the back of the line. Seeking to be careful, Pilgrim was mindful not to remove her mask without being told to do so. She said when she finally got to the front of the line, the DMV took her photo twice, once with her mask and once without it. So, okay, so they did take one picture without it. And then it says Leslie Pilgrim was issued a real ID with a photo of her wearing a mask. Portions of her photo have been blurred by the provider of the photo to protect the personal information. So the DMV did actually take two photos, one with the mask on and one without the mask, and then somehow it got lost in the process and they sent me the mask photo. So she went in, they took two pictures, one with her mask on and one without. I don't know why in the world they would take her picture with the mask on, as now she's ended up with that picture on her real ID, which is like, how are they gonna even tell it's her? Other than, I mean, she could get older and have like gray hair or whatever, and they would never be able to tell that this is her. So the fact that it got all messed up and lost, and lost, the one without her mask got lost, and now she has to use the one with her mask on, I don't know what she's gonna do when she goes and tries to, show the ID for anything. She's gonna have to tell them the story. I mean, I guess it's a great conversation starter, right? Like, hey, all right, I got my ID, but don't laugh because they let me take it with my mask on, so don't laugh at the, at the ID. But it is me. She's gonna have to go through this whole explanation every time she takes her ID out because someone's gonna look at it and say, "That's you." Anyway, I just I don't know how this happened. I mean, it says how it happened. I don't know why they just didn't ask her to come in and take another photo of her without her mask on and use that one instead. But they sent her the one with the mask on. So let's get back to the story here, the article. This is an email statement to CNN. The California DMV said the mask photo was a mistake. Customers are asked to remove their face covering when a photo is taken, the DMV said. In the instance there was an oversight, the customer should have been asked to lower her mask for the photo. And that says the agency said it's investigating how this may have happened, that the ID is valid even though the mask was not removed for the photo. The DMV contacted the customer and an appointment has been scheduled for a new photo to be taken. So they did call her back in. Pilgrim says she has not tried to use the ID yet and has an appointment to take a new photo at the DMV in Sacramento, at Sacramento. And although she will have a new ID soon, she says she has plans to hold on to her ID with the mask photo to remember life during the pandemic. It's definitely a sign of the times. It's going to be a perfect souvenir for me to look back on. So that's the whole story. But the fact that they actually sent her the ID with the mask on, I would try to pull that out. Even though she's getting another picture taken, I would pull that one out with the mask on, and it's like I said, it will be a great conversation starter. And people would be confused. You'd get this confused look on their face, like looking down the license, like looking back at her, looking down the license, and then they might even call, like, if you're in a store, they might even have to call the manager over and be like, "Is this legal?" They might have to call the manager over, and the manager may not even know what to do. Looking at the license, realizing that it's a legal ID, but they can't tell if it's her. And she could do it, she could present that ID somewhere and just see what would happen. But she's getting a new photo, so she can do it. Use it as kind of a joke thing, a conversation starter, and then show her real ID once she has that picture ID. I'm pretty sure she's probably gotten it by now because this was back in February. But I thought this story was really funny and strange, and just like things that happen during these times is just funny, and we need some joy during these times. So this is a funny instance. And I don't know, what would you do if you went in to get an ID and this happened to you? You took two pictures and they sent you the ID that has you with your mask on. Would you go and ask them to take another picture? Or are you just gonna keep the ID with the mask on and use that and never not have another picture with your mask off? Like, what would you do if this whole case happened to you? It was just interesting. it was just interesting, funny to see, and I think that the story is pretty good. And the fact that I don't think she got upset, at least from the story, it didn't say that she got upset or anything. She just has to go back and take another photo. Anyway, what do you think about the story? Let me know if it brought you some joy. Let me know if it made you laugh. Let me know if you think this is a little bit strange. And the fact, what would you do? Would you go back and get another picture? You're probably required to do that by law. Or would you just keep it and not tell anyone? And see what happens. Anyway, hope this video has helped you to bring a little joy into your day, and I will talk to you later.